So there are people who are quite willing to say that people should be willing to die for a number of things. But being willing to die is much different than being willing to make others die. And the central Christian claim is that there is a God who entered human history nonviolently, created a community, set about to create a community. It's being created, it's not like it's happened yet, which is nonviolent. And nonviolent here means radically graceful, loving, compassionate, sacrificial, and so on. And that agency of power as a manifestation of the love, which is in fact the warp and woof of the universe, is simply more powerful. It sounds like a bad pop song or something, I know, but is simply more powerful than fear. It's simply more powerful in the end than anything and all things arrayed against it. And that if God, in fact, entered human history and meant to change everything about the human condition radically, then it follows that our allegiance to violence is one of those things that must be changed. Because if, for example, you could still break out the violence when you thought it was necessary, then in fact, there's no radical change. Then in fact, there is no good news. There's nothing new, and there's nothing good. We're just stuck with the same old life we've always had. And of course, the Christian claim is that that's not the case. Now, the last thing I'll say is, I think it's important to see, let me say, I was really, I don't know what the word is. Heartened would sound condescending, so I don't mean heartened, but I enjoyed listening to your meeting before I, came up here, because it was filled with all kinds of, we got to fight this war against education. We've got to unionize labor, and on, And so what I mean by nonviolence is that, right? Nonviolence isn't the absence of struggle and the absence of conflict and the absence of risk and the absence of sacrifice. Nonviolence is the complete, full, head-on, absolute, pedal to the metal, relentless fight for everything good. And I think it's important to see nonviolence not as the absence of lethal violence, but as this positive, aggressive, profound, courageous, vigorous, relentless fight for everything good. And in this way, when things get better, when justice is done, when workers have rights, and so on, when health care becomes more available, and on and on and on, nonviolence is being done. And it's displacing violence because without those positive steps that take place nonviolently, you would sooner or later indeed have violence. And so, for example, democratization, as I understand it, is simply nonviolence in slow motion. So I think if we understand nonviolence deeply rather than as some kind of caricature, and we understand history deeply rather than as some kind of cliche, I think we are in a position to see something about the power of nonviolence, even apart from faith-based claims. I think I'll stop there and leave it at that, and then, we can talk and I'll answer questions. Would it be valuable to put the chairs in a big circle? Is that what you guys like to do? Okay.